Welcome back to the Weather Crew. In this one, we are going to be tracking a very large coastal storm that's going to be bringing major flooding impacts and disruptions across the I 95 corridor, I 80 corridor, and even I 87 corridor. These main highways that's going to be in some flooding rains tomorrow. If you guys are in the I 95 corridor anywhere in that south or north or coast, you guys are actually expecting up to 2 to 4 inches of rain. All right. This is just an AccuWeather thing, general of 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. On the alerts now, 2 to 4 inches. Urban and flash flooding, travel disruptions. There's the low that's going to be coming off the East Coast and riding up the East Coast. So bringing a lot of impacts with it. So it might be a core here of energy that's actually going to be making its way into these areas right here. I do think is going to be impacted the worst. Is somewhere in these areas, and I think somewhere in these areas too. I think these are the worst two areas in this green that could be seeing 4+ inches of rainfall with a very heavy, intense, I say 2 to 4 hours of torrential rains up to 1 to 2 inches an hour, maybe even up to 3 inches an hour. Wouldn't even be surprised of lightning and thunder and major flooding in this. All right. A big help is going to be the waters from the Atlantic that's going to be going onshore. And in this, as this low continues to move north, the winds will pick up. We do have already some wind advisory. I do expect the wind advisories to be spread in areas, but up to 50-mile-an-hour winds possible. The winds won't be with the whole system. It will be actually towards the end of the rain. So it'll probably start getting a little gusty as that core moves in and the heaviest rain. You guys might be expecting up to 30, even 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And then after your precip's done, maybe up to 50-mile-an-hour winds. So it's 1 to 2 punch. Major thing is going to be the rain, but I do think the winds are going to be another major issue as now the ground will be even more saturated. And you have to remember, these areas have been hit weekend after weekend. Winter, this whole winter has been a very wet winter. Spring and spring already starting very wet, but there was some big rain events that were up to like 6 inches, and a lot of these areas are overdoing their monthly rainfall and are ready for this month. So very, very wet March. Probably could be one of the wettest in some areas, but major flooding, I do think is very possible along the I 95. All right. Like I said, they even calling this a coastal storm. This is going to be riding up the eastern seaboard. And I do not know why that's so big, but something like that. That's going to be riding up the East Coast. And as it's display on there, the winds on that shoreline flow. So I think the worst is going to be here. This was a snow event. We'll be talking about 1 to 3 feet of snow, um, for real. All right. But that's the major things that the AccuWeather has. Um, 30 to 45-mile-an-hour winds, stiff off the coastal waters, above the normal hours or less. So now we're going to take a look at the radar, look at the structure of the storm, and maybe even look at satellite and before we even look at the models, because we need to see how the storm already has looked. And there was already some sprinkles coming down in my area, and the rain's not even here. So that's what we call ghost rain or not being protected. But apparently in northern Pennsylvania, there is some heavier snow going on north of Scranton near the Pennsylvania border. Um, just south of the Pennsylvania border, back into Western Pennsylvania, some freezing rain into the Erie area, about to be switching over the Cleveland. You guys are in a break right now, but very close to that freezing rain. Pittsburgh all rain, but there is that rain developing and continuing in the southern parts here. This is where we're seeing the heavier rains really already start situating, and these are going to continue to spread. Low pressure, where you think it will be, it's not in the mid levels. This is a low pressure in the making around here. All right. This is that right there is not the actual low. We got two lows. We got the mid low back up in here that's just going to get spun out. But then we have an actual low that is about here, that is taking its development. How you can tell is because some of that curling band back here, and then you can tell we have this long arching band. Let's bring all this precip and wrapping back in here. So we have a low level center developing, and that's going to continue to take process and keep moving up the East Coast. And this rain right here is expected to be making it into the Pennsylvania area, eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York area tomorrow. That's the rain that we're talking about. We go into about, let's just go into 12 and see this, that the radar. There it is. Boom. Nothing too much. We go into, let's just go into the end of this. 4:34 in the morning. There it is. There is snowing like crazy in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. Upstate New York, northern Pennsylvania, even back in the area could be snowing, but this is a big rain event, and you can tell how this low really becomes the dominant, and it continues to develop. And by in the morning, you're gonna be able to tell the sharp storm here that's gonna be going up the East Coast. There is the low right in here, and look at all this rain that is just wrapped around the northern side of this. And this is just going to keep moving north. And as of right now, future radar, it looks like I said, I think these areas are going to be the major impacts too. I think even eastern Pennsylvania, the way this is looking. But we'll have to continue to see the journey of the developing low throughout tonight to determine the heaviest rainfall. All right. But we do have national weather alerts. I said in eastern Pennsylvania along the New Jersey, pretty much if in these areas of the map. I mean that's all there too, but in this area, 2 to 4 inches of rain, locally higher. I I think the I-95 is a big shot. Philly's a big shot. New York, New Jersey, going to be seeing that. But the winds, there is wind advisories too in these areas. These wind advisories for 50 miles an hour. 50 miles an hour wind gust. So very strong winds, very heavy rain, all going to be encountering a potential uprooting trees is how saturated the ground is. We go a little bit more north, like northern New Jersey and actually northern upstate New York. Winter storm warnings, major winter storm warnings. Actually, we got a lot of snow to be expecting in the upstate New York area. Near that, up to 12 to 18 inches, maybe even 18 to 24 inches. Rains, like I said, 2 to 3. If we go back down here and look at the rainfall, what? Oh, they don't have it now. All right, never mind. They don't have it. But going into like the Vermont area where the big snow is, Up to 18 to 24 inches of snow is expected to be impacting the areas. That's why there's winter storm warning. So there's two sides of this: flooding, wind. Actually, three sides: flooding, wind, and the snow. All right, big impacts with this one. All right. So now we're gonna take a look at some of the models because the models are gonna help too on determine how much rainfall we're really gonna see. So what's up? We're just gonna start out the wrap model. Why not? Get it done with. We always look at it. Why not? Precip type. Alright, look at that. The low moves. There it is. That low does encounter. But look how that moves up the East Coast. The heaviest rain, I think, is going to be in these areas on the northern. Winds will pick up on the backside. This one has a low of 1,002 millibars. Certain models have a little lower. I think I'm gonna go with the little lower because how the storm structure is already looking than this. Total rainfall out of this model. More of the bullseye being in the I-95, I-75, I-98, or I whatever quarter. But there it is. Potentially up to 4 inches of rain. There is a bullseye on this model. The bullseye is just out of the Lehigh Valley, but just north of New York City directly. Goes into a bit of Philly, into these areas right here is a bullseye on this model where the heaviest rain. Depends. It could be a little bit more west, a little bit more north, or a little bit more off the coast, or even a little bit more in the New England. I think this is a close potential, even off the banks, up to maybe 5 inches of rain. But that's just one model of what it's expecting. The her model, let's not take a look at that fully, but it's total rain. Um, there it is. Heavy rainfall into there. The winds doesn't pick up until later. Its rainfall is not like the wrap. It's more on the latest 0Z, is more along the coast. In some of these spots, up to 4, even 5 inches of rain. There's that bullseye. There's that unknown bullseye that I think we are still a little bit not sure about as of right now. There's that bullseye right here on the in certain. I think in the 18Z run it was a little bit more this way, and in the 12Z run was a little bit more that way. So her model changes every time because we look into 18Z and we look at the total rainfall. It was actually a little bit more off the coast on that, so it actually came in a bit, but the rainfall was up to like 6 inches. So definitely the heavier, but we'll have to continue to watch and see for the rainfall. The winds on this, if we look at wind gusts, will be picking up as that dominant low comes in. When you see how strong it does come in, but the backside definitely up to 40 miles an hour, 45. Not too much wind on the 0Z. I noticed that too. 18Z had a little bit more of wind. So maybe it's just the 0Z in general. I don't know. But don't take it for like complete because Honestly, it's more of a radar now type deal. But same thing here. Heaviest rain has a little bit more of a stronger wind. Low once it gets up to here is more like 1,000 and oh 1,003. All right, all right. Um, Total rainfall on this model has a not as close to the coast. It has it more in this area now. It has it more in the eastern Pennsylvania, like in these areas right here. So a little bit more wider, up to maybe more of a widespread of 3 inches. So that's what I'm saying. These models are a little bit off. And that's why I really think we have to just watch radar in the future radar and take it forward. All right. NAM 3KM, another very important model. It has a very pretty intense low actually, 1,000 millibars. It likes more of 1,000 millibars. I wouldn't be surprised the NAM is right on that actually, because the NAM has been right with the millibars before in recent storms. But there it is, the heaviest rain, more green with the NAM. The actual NAM, that's the bullseye right here, up to that higher 2 to 4 inches of rain. So there's still some uncertainty on this with the model. So I really advise you, because if we look at the gem, has the heaviest rain like in Long Island. I don't think that's really gonna happen at this point. Has it like that? So that's what I'm saying. I think we have to look at more of a radar expert at this, because the model doesn't do perfect. And the Euro has it like in New Jersey, New York, these areas. So there's the uncertainty where I don't think the Euro's right. And if we looked at the GFS, it's very weird. It's very not as heavy, and it's more like that. So I think the global models are out on this. And I think some of the major models we are using is having a little bit more of a trouble on this too. There's some models still coming out as of 0Z. All right, we still got the GFS to come out. This model I haven't even checked. Another mesoscale. But likes the heavier rain a little bit more towards the coast. Not what I'm seeing on the future radar though. So there's that little bit, but more of the heavier rain being off, but still 2 inches in eastern Pennsylvania. So either way, someone's going to be hit pretty hard in the system. I'm letting you know now. This is another model right here. Showing closing on that 5 inch mark here as we continue to look. But there's the uncertainty with the system still. But before I go, I'd like to take a look at the satellite imagery and radar one last time and one last good dissect. So we're looking into the United States high res, not radar, I mean more of the radar. There is some of the convection actually popping off. So maybe that's why some of those thunderstorms are getting a little stronger, those heavier rain bands, is the color is getting more of the yellows and oranges. So we'll have to continue to look at that. That's the convection spree. There's the mid level, low level somewhere in this area. We're gonna have to see how that dominance really take place. True color going to nighttime. There's the mid level. We do have sort of a low level center developing off the coast here, but we'll have to take it in counter. But we look at radar one last time before I go and we're going to look at it. There's some of the sprinkles. There's the rain. There's some of the heavier rain. That's what I'm talking about. Some of that heavier rain developing. Like I said, low level center somewhere in this area. Why I know is the way it's looking. How this is trying to wrap into this, and this is trying to wrap in there. So there's that low level center wrapping up a bit. Gonna take a little bit, but we have to continue to look. We looked at 9, and we look at now a little bit more of a heavier rain developing. So that is all I have with you guys. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them down below. Goodbye. Have a great night.